Good evening. This is not just a crime story. This is a minority security story, a rule of law story, and a story about what happens when violence becomes background noise in a country's public life. Tonight we are looking at Bangladesh, where a young Hindu man, a garage worker, was burnt alive while he slept. And we're asking the uncomfortable questions. Who did this? Why? And will there be justice? Swift, certain, and visible. The victim is identified as Chanchal Chandra Bhowmik, 23, a Hindu garage worker in Narsingdi, roughly 50 kilometers from Dhaka. Multiple reports say he was sleeping inside the garage after work. Then, according to eyewitness accounts cited by media, miscreants allegedly poured fuel from outside, set the shutter area on fire, and the flames spread rapidly, especially because the space contained inflammable materials like petrol and engine oil. Firefighters arrived and later recovered a charred body. The family calls it premeditated. Police say they are examining the evidence and CCTV footage and investigating. The details of motive and identity of attackers are not yet confirmed by a court, but the consistent pattern across reports is that this was not an accident. This was an act done from outside, timed when the victim was asleep, and executed in a way that maximized fatality. Now, here's the bigger question. When a man is burnt alive in a locked space, are we looking at random cruelty or something more targeted? Bangladesh is a Muslim majority country. Hindus form the largest minority, about 8% or about 13 million Hindus of the population. This matters because minority safety is not tested by slogans. It is tested by police response, prosecutorial seriousness, and convictions. And Bangladesh has been facing sustained questions on this front, not only from minority groups, but also from international monitoring bodies. So let's separate emotions from evidence here. The most recent data is staggering. Following the political transition in August 2024, the Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council, or the BHBCUC, recorded over 2,000 incidents of communal violence in just the first few weeks. By early 2025, official records showed that since the resignation of the previous government, at least 23 Hindus were killed and over 150 temples desecrated. We must look at the consistency of these attacks to understand that Chanchal Chandra Bhowmik is not a random victim. Throughout 2025, a persistent campaign of vandalism targeted Hindu temples in districts such as Morvi Bazar, Ghazipur, and Faridpur. In December 2025 alone, human rights groups reported at least 51 incidents of communal violence against Hindus, including 10 killings. And just weeks before Chanchal was burnt alive, another Hindu worker, Dipu Chandra Das, was beaten to death by a Muslim mob over alleged blasphemy. This is the pattern critics talk about. Frequency. Attacks on Hindus are no longer once a year. They are daily occurrences. They are targeting Hindus. When you see 2,000 incidents in a year followed by targeted killings in 2026, you aren't looking at isolated crimes. You are looking at a systematic persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh and a failure of the Bangladeshi government to protect Hindus. There's a deep civilizational irony here. Sanatan Hindu Dharma, across its philosophies, has long emphasized ahimsa, non-violence. Yet, Hindus across regions, across the globe, often find themselves pleading for the most basic right, to live safely, worship freely, and work without fear. KAILASA, the revival of the ancient enlightened indigenous Hindu civilizational nations, is a refuge and a space for Hindus, especially those who are persecuted or displaced. But here's the point. A refuge narrative should not exist because it is fashionable. It exists because repeated episodes of violence make Hindu communities face they have no protection. Chanchal Chandra Bhowmik's life cannot be reduced to a headline. If Bangladesh wants to be taken seriously as a society that protects all citizens, this case must not fade into the archive of unresolved horrors. Thank you for watching. This is Vijaya Priyananda from KAILASA News.